Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. We are headed to the NFL, where Terry McLaurin wants to be paid like a top 5 wide receiver. But there are reports that he's not happy with the way his contract conversations are progressing. So he skipped minicamp, and now the team runs the risk of McLaurin holding out of training camp in a couple of weeks as well. And now other people are noticing. Take a look what the former great in Washington, Joe Theismann, had to say. Quote, "He needs to be paid. He needs to be paid right away. We need to put this issue behind us as a football team. He is one of the leaders, and he's a guy that you can always count on." Former agent Joel Corry has a great article up on CBSSports.com detailing this situation and why it might be a little bit more complicated than it seems on the surface. We're joined by him now, as well as our former NFL GM, Ran Carthon. Guys, we appreciate the time. Joel, I want to start with you, though. Why isn't this maybe as easy as it seems between the Commanders and Terry McLaurin?
Age is an issue because Terry turns 30 in September. All the other receivers who have gotten paid at the highest level are in their mid-20s. The oldest it's signing being A.J. Brown at 27 and DK Metcalf at 28. So paying a guy on a go-forward basis for New Year's 31, 32, 33, 34, that's problematic for the team.
Ran, from your perspective, I know that you have been in these conversations. You've kind of been on the other side of this coin where the GM has to make the decision to create the contracts here. What do you think is the holdup between these two?
I mean, I agree 100% with Joel. I mean, you got to think about it as his third contract, coming up on his third contract. He's entering 30 years old at the start of the season. And so you're going to have to find ways to be creative in terms of taking care of Terry, because like the guy said, like, he is a big part of this organization. He's been the model of consistency in an inconsistent organization, and he deserves to be paid. However, the business part of it is, how long is this deal going to be? And I think potentially that's the holdup right now, is the actual term. You know, we, again, a 30-year-old receiver, and the team is probably looking for a shorter extension, and he's probably looking for some long-term security.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Ran. If you were in that room and you were sort of trying to make those decisions, where do you see the numbers falling for Terry McLaurin? Because we just saw the highest paid. Do you think he needs to be towards the top there, or where would you work that contract out?
I think, like Joel said, you know, those earlier guys that you talked about, that you showed on the graphic, all those guys were 25 years old. We're talking about a guy with 5 more years on his life than those other guys. To me, the sweet spot is going to come in between 30 and 32 million a year. On average, the 30 million being the floor, because that's what the franchise tag will be, a little bit north of that. Of 30 if you were to franchise him next year. And franchising a guy like this, again, who's been the model of consistency for your organization, he's a leader. They have chants in this stadium for him, and everyone loves him. If you look in their stands right now, number 17 is probably the most, the jersey that you'll see the most in the stands. And so you have to take care of this guy, because it sends a good message to the locker room. So I think that sweet spot is between 30 to 32 million a year.
Yeah, I think it might be slightly higher if I'm looking at it from Terry's perspective. An important data point to him is going to be DK Metcalf. They both were in the same draft class in 2019. Terry's been a little more productive than DK past couple of years, and overall, since they both came into the league, that deal averages $33 million per year practically on the new money. So I could see where he would want to be paid a little bit more than that. There's one problem. DK Metcalf has some traits that you can't find in a wide receiver. 6'3.5", 230-pound receivers that have great speed don't grow on trees. That's not Terry, but I understand why he would be looking to get a little bit more than DK Metcalf, since that deal was done in March.
I love it. The agent advocating for a little bit more, the GM trying to keep costs down. We love to see the battle back and forth. When we look at Terry's specs, he came in at number 81 on our Pete Prisco's top 100 list. He's the 12th highest ranked wide receiver as well. So obviously, Ran, there's some substance to him, and we know we just saw his touchdown numbers too. So maybe he has some trade value as well. I mean, I know it seems outlandish based on what you guys have said, but is there a world where we don't see a deal get done and maybe he becomes a trade piece?
I mean, there's always a world where it doesn't get done because of guys like Joel, you know, driving up the price and having his client hold out. However, I don't see this happening. I worked with Adam Peters for 5-6 years. I know the type of guy he is and how he sees team building, and he's been a part of some tough negotiations before throughout his career in San Francisco. And then Dan Quinn, who is a big culture guy, knowing what having culture guys, what it means to the organization. And so I can't see a scenario where he's traded. I can see a scenario where they get into a game of chicken and see who's going to blink first, and it carries out throughout the season. But I don't see a scenario or a world where Scary Terry's not in Washington.
Oh, I agree. I don't think there's a trade. It's great to speculate about it, but the Commanders are in win-now mode. He's their number one receiver. You wouldn't get, presumably, a player who could help at the receiver position in return, and a draft pick doesn't help you for the 2025 season. To me, the big question is, if a deal isn't done by the start of training camp, does he hold out and incur a $50,000 per day fine, which is mandatory, or does he hold in to avoid the fine and do practically next to nothing until his deal is done, except attend meetings?
Yeah, certainly a lot to get sorted out, especially when you think about training camps coming up. The Commanders are expected to start on July 27th, so you still have a little bit of time before we get to those holdout conversations. But Joel, as we know, the Chargers get underway with training camp tomorrow. They've got that Hall of Fame game against the Lions. From the agent's perspective here, what's your, I guess, importance on trying to get those deals done before training camp begins?
Ideally, you want them done before training camp, but for veterans, sometimes that doesn't happen. The new CBA implemented in 2020 discourages veteran players for holding out because $50,000 per day fine, that's a lot. Didn't deter Trent Williams last year. He incurred over $2 million in fines before he got his contract adjusted. But yeah, you want to see everyone get done at the start of training camp if possible. Sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, and I agree. You want to get it done on both sides. You want to have it done before training camp so you can just, go into the season. And this team has high expectations. And in order for this offense to stay rolling and be the juggernaut that it is, you got to have every piece in there. These guys got to work on their timing. And see, even him holding out, having not been in OTAs, it kind of takes away from the timing with Jaden Daniels and even adding a Deebo Samuel. These guys have to learn how to work off each other. And the only way you're going to get that is if they're on the practice field. Now, to your earlier point, I think you'll probably more than likely see a hold in, have him there in the building, because even if he is in the building and he's attending meetings, just his presence alone in that organization and in that locker room is going to carry some weight. And honestly, it'll put a little bit more pressure on the organization to get something done, because you don't want to have your captain walking around disgruntled in the locker room.
Hey, listen, as someone who watched Dak Prescott wait until the literal last minute to get a contract extension a year ago, I just know that they are trying to get this sorted out. Guys, great conversation. Love the insight from two very important parts of NFL negotiations, our agent and our GM helping us break down these contract negotiations. That's what you get right here on CBS Sports HQ. You get the news, the highlights, the former GMs and the agents. It's all here. It's all streaming for free 24/7 on the CBS Sports app and streaming on Paramount Plus.